Okay, so with the first question here, if the sole proprietorship that I'm starting a solo 401k with is not part of a control group per the rules, but I am invested in other businesses that may be in a control group with each other, it shouldn't affect my eligibility for a solo 401k in the sole proprietorship, correct? Yes, that is correct. So first off, that's a great question because it is true. So the issue ultimately is whether or not there's another business out there that's part of a control group that has full-time W-2 employees. So let's say very simple, right? You own two businesses. One is a consulting business with no employees. The second is a cafe that has many W-2 full-time employees. So if you're the 100% owner of each business, those two businesses together are going to comprise a control group. So that means that no business within that control group is eligible to set up a solo 401k because the employees of the other business, the cafe, are going to be considered employees for purposes of a plan that's set up by the consulting business. Now, if you have a very small stake, a minority stake in another business that has employees and there's no interaction with that other business, so there's no concern that the two businesses might constitute an affiliated service group, then the fact that that other business has employees and that other business itself might be part of a control group with other businesses that you have no connection with whatsoever is not going to prevent or preclude you from setting up a solo 401k for your sole proprietorship. So the first part of the analysis is, do you have a control group? Then the question is, are there full-time employees working for another company that comprises part of that control group? But if the answer to the first question is no, I'm not part of a control group, then you can stop the analysis, assuming that it's also not an affiliated service group, which it doesn't sound like it is. So hopefully that helps. That's a great question. So affiliated service groups. So the follow-up question here is, can you speak more about affiliated service groups? So affiliated service groups is similar to control groups in that if you have two companies that comprise an affiliated service group, if one of those companies has full-time W-2 employees, non-owner employees, et cetera, that is going to prevent the other company, even if it doesn't have any employees, from setting up a solo 401k. So those affiliated service group rules are more complex, right? The control group rules is really just a simple ownership mathematical analysis, right? So if you along with the related people own 80% or more of the other company, then it in short, it would constitute those two companies would constitute a control group. The affiliated service group rules are more flexible. The analysis is more complex, but as the name suggests, there is some type of affiliation, right? Where the two entities are working together, right? One might be working for the other, one might be managing the operations of the other. They could be ultimately serving the same customer group, right? There's different ways to get there. But if you think that your sole proprietorship might be part of an affiliated service group, you would certainly want to discuss that with your tax advisor because it does depend on the facts and circumstances. And you would want to be certain that you're not part of that affiliated service group so that you can be certain that you are eligible to set up a solo 401k. So hopefully that helps. And ultimately, like I said, if the other company in the affiliated service group doesn't have any employees, then it's a non-issue anyways, right? If you have two entities and neither of those entities has employees, clearly that's a control group, but it doesn't ultimately, it's okay. It's not going to prevent one of the entities from setting up a solo 401k because there's still no non-owner employees. So again, hopefully that helps. Thank you so much for the good question.